Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. And in this video we're going to make some bold predictions in regards to the up and coming UK premium event in Clash at the Castle. The first one in 30 years I might add, and I'm super excited, super amped, pumped for this premium event, mainly because I'm going to be there. Of course, get down in the comments section, are you going to be there too? If so, where are you travelling from? And are you excited about it? I'm sure you are if you're going. That's a given, right? So let's get down to the juicy stuff. But before we do that, as always, be really appreciative if you could like this video, share this video, and even better, subscribe. So let's start with the women's division. And it is worth mentioning that in time recording this video, there's actually only been 5 matches advertised. I'm sure there's going to be more included. We'll mention those at the back end of the video. But let's start with what we got. Now the women's division, with Triple H in charge, you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to want to push this, right? He's going to want to make a statement, no pun intended. And let's start with the Smackdown Women's Championship match between Shayna Baszler and Liv Morgan. Now I know what you're thinking, on paper, this is a bit of a mismatch, right? You got 5'3" Liv Morgan versus a dominant weapon, literally a combat specialist in Shayna Baszler. And if you think back to Elimination Chamber, Shayna Baszler back in the day, that is the type of Shayna Baszler that Triple H is going to book. And you wouldn't want to be Liv Morgan in that ring. Now in terms of this match, it's going to be a dominant Shayna Baszler. So much to the point where you think the victory is just a formality. However, I don't think it's going to end up that way. I think there's going to be a controversial finish, which could potentially be a heat magnet, even more so for Liv Morgan. She's going to retain some way. But I think it's actually going to come down ultimately to Ronda Rousey. Now I hope Ronda Rousey comes in and interferes, mainly so I can see her in person. I've never seen Ronda Rousey before, so that would be cool. But also secondly, I think she's going to try and help Shayna Baszler in some weird way and actually inevitably cost Shayna Baszler the matchup. And then you could potentially have some friction between those two, teasing that down the line whilst keeping Liv Morgan champion. It's a short reign as champion, so you might as well keep the strap on her. However, it ain't going to be a clean victory, I can assure you that, but Liv Morgan retains. Moving on to the very random 6-women tag match. This is kind of out of nowhere, isn't it? It feels like that Survivor Series sort of format where you've got Team Bayley versus Team Bianca. Bayley's team, of course, alongside Dakota Kai and Io Sky, with Bianca's team seemingly with Alexa Bliss and Asuka. And that seems to be the case. Kind of seems like those are the actual captains of the teams in Bianca and Bayley, and then you've got the other two in the background. That's how it feels to me as well, and Alexa very much feels like in the background to me, the way that's been booked. And the outcome is going to be obvious, right? Team Bayley are going to win this 100%. There's no way they're going to book a faction this early on so weak. They're going to want to look dominant, assert their authority within the women's division. And we're assuming at this point Dakota Kai and Io Sky have the tag belts. Then there's room at the end of the match, of course, to bring back Sasha Banks and Naomi. And what a stare down that would be. Not only for the tag team scene, but of course Banks and Bayley staring each other down. Of course you can have Banks staring Bianca down as well on that front. But I don't think things are going to be all rosy if Bianca's team loses. And I don't think Alexa Bliss is going to take this well, because Alexa lost at Elimination Chamber to then losing this match as well. Is that going to add fuel to the fire? She did state her intent that she's coming after the championship. She did state it was either Bianca or Becky before SummerSlam. Whoever, she didn't care who she's coming after to assert her dominance at the top of the title picture. So don't forget about that. Alexa could be pissed about the outcome. She could come after Bianca. Will certainly insert herself into the main event scene down the line. A trade to Smackdown going after Liv. Loads of things can happen, but exciting times in the women's division. So I'm going with Team Bayley, potentially a Sasha and Naomi return. Moving on to what I think is going to be one of the matches of the night, and moving on to the men's side of things, Gunther versus Sheamus. And I really hope that Sheamus comes down to the ring with his written in my face entrance theme. That was a badass theme. I'd love it if he came back with that theme, even if it was for one night only. This is going to be a clinic of a match. It's going to be a hard hitting match. It's going to be a blimmin' slobber knocker of one, if you like. It could go 20 minutes. It could go 25 minutes. The home crowd are going to be massively into this, albeit Sheamus is Irish, but technically that's part of the whole nation thing, right? And it's going to be a hell of a performance. But Gunther is going to remain strong. Gunther is going to take the victory here. They're not going to take the strap off him. They're going to make that Intercontinental title really relevant, and it means something. And I can see Gunther having the title for like literally over a year. He's been booked really well on the roster, and I think that's going to continue. Establish the dominance. WWE have got it right with Gunther so far and just keep pushing him, albeit I do still feel like he should be called Walter. But let's not go into that. I still think it's odd calling him Gunther, but hey, I need to get over that maybe. Moving on to a match, I got to be honest with you. I'm here for the Seth Rollins entrance and the attire, whatever he brings. Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. I feel sorry for these two. I feel this is just a match that's been put together because there's nothing for both of them. And yes, they had to improvise with Randy Orton, obviously being injured and having to go away, so that affected Riddle. But Seth Rollins, just as he's about to establish his intent to go after Roman Reigns again, someone interrupts, that someone being Riddle. And since that moment in Royal Rumble when Rollins lost to Roman Reigns, he's just been losing ever since. So Rollins needs a victory here, more so than Riddle needs a victory, in my opinion. So I think Seth Rollins for the victory. I think the crowd are going to be massively into the Rollins character. I'm massively into the Rollins character. He's definitely in my top 5 WWE superstars as of now, just because of the way he is as a performer. He dives in 100%, always gives his all, and entertains us at the end of the day. And he's always willing to put people over. Not to mention, he's flipping awesome in the ring. So Rollins for the victory. And moving on to the main event, the main course. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, versus Drew McIntyre. Heart tells me McIntyre wins both the belts and leaves Cardiff as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. But I don't think it's going to be a love story ending. I really don't. I think it's going to be heartbreak. And I think that heartbreak is going to be Karrion Kross. They're going to have a heck of a matchup. It's going to be a slobber knocker. And then Karrion Kross is going to somehow, some way cost Drew McIntyre the titles. The Usos are going to get involved. Of course, the two stooges of Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns ain't going to win this match clean. But it's very unlikely overseas that WWE will have a major title change. Now, I'd love to be wrong with this. I'd love to be wrong. And Triple H really shows his state of intent by literally pulling the trigger on McIntyre. McIntyre didn't get his moment in front of a live audience around the pandemic era for obvious reasons. Get your words out. But I feel that, I'm still torn. I'm going with Reigns retains. However, I think there's going to be shenanigans. I don't think they're going to leave the audience flat like that. I don't think it's going to be a Karrion Kross signals his intent to go after Drew McIntyre. Of course, those two have been stated the fact that they could be having a match at Extreme Rules. That makes sense. They go on and move on and have their feud. But then who does Roman Reigns feud with next? Now, it can't be a returning Brock Lesnar again, not this early on. Could we potentially see the man that shall not be named return? I'm going to do a separate video on this, a theory video on this, but could that be grounds for a Bray Wyatt return? Stares down Roman Reigns, potentially down the line gets his revenge on Roman Reigns for SummerSlam 2020. We know he's not forgotten about that. There's going to be some curveballs thrown in the way with that. Again, I'm going to discuss that in a video. But I don't think the ending is going to be Roman Reigns wins 2 belts, celebrates, people leave a little bit disappointed. I think, yes, he will win, retain, but I think it's going to be something that's going to happen down the line that's going to make the crowd pop. Whether it be a return, who knows? Thank you so much for watching the video. Of course, I did mention at the end of the video I was going to refer to some potential matchups. I think it's going to be something involving Judgment Day and Edge. We could see Edge versus Balor, or we could see Edge and Mysterio versus Balor and Priest, or we could see an intergender match with Beth Phoenix, Rey Mysterio and Edge versus Damian Priest, Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley potentially. That's always there. And speaking of titles, you've got to think that the United States Championship is going to make an appearance. There's going to be a defence somewhat at Clash at the Castle. Bobby Lashley could face someone as simple as AJ Styles or Ciampa or The Miz. We could just see AJ Styles versus The Miz, and then Bobby Lashley versus Ciampa. Or we could just see a fatal four-way going on there. Like there's all sorts that could go on down the line there, but I think that's probably a matchup that's going to get added as well. I don't think Lashley's going to lose that bout, whatever happens down the line. And I think if we look at Judgment Day and Edge, I'm a little bit on the fence with that, because you should really be booking the Judgment Day strong, because they're a new established faction that seemingly seems to lose a lot. So I'm going to go with the Judgment Day out of purely, I think that makes sense booking wise, right? Thank you so much for watching the video. As always, be really appreciative if you can like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. Clash at the Castle, right around the corner. Cannot wait.